is Tuesday, August 10. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Effective August 11, Jamaicans will have to adhere to stricter COVID-19 containment measures as the country grapples with an increase in cases of the virus. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement at a press conference on Monday evening. The number of new COVID-19 cases have been increasing in the last few weeks, and the Prime Minister says changes have to be made to limit movement and hopefully reduce the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
The following changes to the Disaster Risk Management Act will apply for a 3-week period from Wednesday, August 11, 2021 to August 31st, 2021. Let's start with the curfew hours. Effective Wednesday, August 11, the curfew hours will be adjusted as follows. On Mondays to Fridays, the curfew hours will be from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. the following morning. On Saturdays, the curfew hours will be from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. on the Sunday morning. On Sundays, the curfew hours will be from 2 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Monday morning.
The Prime Minister says closing hours for establishments will be an hour before curfew begins.
The strategy of the government, you will realize, is to gradually ease in the tighter measures. For various reasons, we have analyzed how we have implemented measures in the past, and we would have heard the concerns, criticisms, and suggestions of our stakeholders who have said that the implementation of tighter measures steeply sometimes causes congestion and panic.
Mr. Holness says Jamaicans should plan for more safety measures as the government continues to strategize on ways to effectively manage the pandemic. He says beaches not under management are to remain closed.
The beaches that remain open will operate under the existing protocols and subject to tighter operating hours as follows. Mondays to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Sunday, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Rivers will be restricted to be used only for domestic purposes and for river rafting in accordance with the established protocols. The operating hours will remain the same as for beaches. Places of worship will be restricted to having no more than 50 persons in physical attendance, including clergy and support personnel. No crusades, conferences, or conventions will be permitted.
No permits will be given for any event during this period.
No small or large events, for example, concerts, parties, tailgate parties, round robins, will be permitted. During this period, events, as I have described, will be strictly prohibited. For weddings, no more than 50 persons will be permitted to physically attend a wedding. For annual and extraordinary general meetings of entities, the maximum number of persons permitted to attend physically is 50. For public events and hosted by public entities, such as handing over ceremonies, launches, groundbreakings, opening ceremonies, things that I would normally do. No more than 30 persons are permitted to be in physical attendance. As a reminder, the limit of 30 persons remains in place for funeral services and burials. This includes mourners as well as clergy and any support personnel. Burial can be done only on Mondays to Fridays during the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the time for conducting the burial continues to be limited to 30 minutes.
The Prime Minister says that travel protocols remain the same. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his administration is not thinking about mandatory vaccines. His comments follows announcements made in other countries regarding mandatory immunization against COVID-19. He gave his response at a virtual press brief at Jamaica House on Monday.
We are in the phase of public education, getting availability and widespread dispersion of the vaccines in the island, and creating incentives for persons to take the vaccine. I think that is the phase that we have to work on and we have to focus on. I have confidence that the Jamaican people, once they buy into it, that they will accept it. We have a long and deep history of vaccines. Almost all Jamaicans would have taken some vaccines at some point in time when they were children. And so, you know, whilst it befuddles me every time that I see the discussions and the propaganda, some of them, it befuddles me. But it is what it is, and we accept that this is how it will be. And our job is to educate and bring our people along, and that is what we will be doing.
The Prime Minister cautioned that Jamaicans might find themselves under at least a 1 day per week lockdown if the cases show no signs of slowing.
A no movement day. A no movement day, however, is possible. And in fact, no movement days, if the numbers do not show signs of improving, will probably come, give it 2 weeks from now. So we are gradually easing in the tighter measures so that people can prepare.
Starting next April, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, will be conducting the 2022 Population and Housing Census. The population census is the official counting of nationals in the territory of a country and the collection of information on selected characteristics of the population. Population censuses are generally conducted every 10 years.
Deputy Director General of the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Lester Byrd, says a population census is a critical undertaking by any country.
It helps us to collect detailed information on the demographic situation in the country at the most disaggregated level. The census provides critical indicators that can only be produced by this undertaking.
She says one goal is to use technology to make it more efficient in assisted personal interviews. eLearning Jamaica Limited will be procuring over 7,000 tablet computers and other supplementary devices to be used in the census.
Projectors and power banks and other accessories.
Ms. Byrd says they have been using tablets since 2013 for routine surveys, but this census will require more and the devices will help the quality and the speed.
And what we realize is that, one, we're able to put a lot of the quality checks and consistency checks, they're built into the data collection process when you use a tablet to do the data collection. Additionally, we see that we're able to get the data in office in a more timely manner. So these are some of the advantages of going digital with the census. We expect to have the data in-house for cleaning sooner than if we had to wait until the end of data collection and then to do data entry in order for us to start analyzing the data. So that's a very important advantage of going digital for the census.
According to the STATIN executive, procuring the equipment and training staff will cost about $3 million.
We'll be having 4 rounds of training, and that will take place between January and March next year. Additionally, there will be the training of other census workers, because it's not just the data collectors. You have field supervisors, you have other quality workers, such as we call them headquarter users, that do additional quality verification and quality checks on the data. So all the training for the census will take place between January and March next year.
She says job applications for census field workers will be done online in due time. Melvin Pennant, PBCJ News.
We now get the latest market updates in this quick business report.
In a historic first, digital currency is now available for legal tender in Jamaica. The central bank on Monday minted Jamaica's first batch of the central bank digital currency CBDC. Minister of Finance and the Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark made the announcement on his Twitter page. He said, quote, "This freshly minted CBDC will be exchanged for physical Jamaican currency with the institutions participating in the BOJ CBDC pilot who will onboard customers," end quote. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ says $230 million worth of CBDC will be issued to deposit-taking institutions and authorized payment service providers during the CBDC pilot exercise, which ends in December. The finance minister says the CBDC offers a more secure, more efficient form of currency that offers the potential of significantly broadening financial inclusion. He says along with national identification, the CBDC will form the foundation of the digital transformation of the Jamaican society. Minister Clark also promised that the legislative amendment to accompany CBDC will be in place before the end of this fiscal year. The Bank of Jamaica says the central bank digital currency is a digital form of central bank issued currency and therefore it's legal tender. As legal tender, CBDC can be exchanged dollar for dollar with digital cash. The BOJ says it is not to be confused with cryptocurrency, which is privately issued, generally not backed by a central authority, and does not perform all the essential functions of money. The BOJ anticipates that households and businesses will be able to use CBDC to make payments and store value in the way cash is now used. For the Business Report on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson. In Monday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index declined by 3,611 points to close at over 419,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 90 stocks, of which 30 advanced, 47 declined, and 13 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 6 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 1834 Investments Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Stocks declined for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Burge Paint Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were Cargo Handlers Limited, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited, and Dolphin Cove Limited. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with over 3.6 million units, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 1.3 million units, and Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1.1 million units. In foreign exchange trading for Monday, August 9, the US dollar sold for an average $155.27. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $124.55. The pound sterling traded for $214.61, and the euro sold for an average $185.34. In market data for oil, prices rose more than $1 on Tuesday, recouping some of the losses in the previous session as rise of demand in Europe and the United States outweighed concerns over a rise in COVID cases in Asian countries. Brent crude futures added $1.06 to $70.10 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude rose $1.29 to $67.77 a barrel. Both contracts dropped around 2.5% on Monday, but analysts believe the pandemic setback will not last for long. On that note, we close this Tuesday edition of the Business Report inside the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
Here are some of the stories making headlines across the region. Former Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Sir Lester Byrd, has died. The office of the Prime Minister in a statement says Sir Lester died at 6 a.m. on Monday. Sir Lester served as Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister between 1994 and 2004. He also served in several ministerial positions, including tourism and economic. With the retail sector set to reopen in a week's time, businesses in Trinidad and Tobago may impose certain rules on customers and potential employees. President of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association, Gregory Aboud, says one of the rules may be asking an employee of proof of their COVID-19 status. Kimberly D'Souza tells us more.
We have a third shutdown it is going to be a very different parameter to what we have come through in this second shutdown. It is going to be a calamity for this economy, this country, if we have to shut down a third time.
A warning from the president of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association, Gregory Aboud, on vaccine hesitancy, as the retail sector is set to reopen on August 16. While everyone has a choice to make, Mr. Aboud said people's decision to refuse the vaccine can put the country at risk.
I think we are heading into a situation in which people, by their choices, which they are demanding the right to choose, which they will have the right to choose. Nobody can't force you. But you also have to understand that you are creating a scenario that is possibly going to isolate you.
He said businesses will continue to impose rules to ensure their safety, and soon many may ask potential employees if they have been vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus before they are employed.
So that almost no business is going to want to hire any new staff if they are unvaccinated. That is certainly a thought for most people who might be looking for a job, who may not have had a job prior to the shutdown and are in a situation now where they will be going out to look for a job that businesses are reopening.
Still, he admitted he is hard-pressed about mandating the alternative, regular PCR testing to employees to ensure their COVID-19 status. He gave credit to the government for wanting to vaccinate the public. Kimberly D'Souza, TTT News.
In Antigua and Barbuda, the police have defended their action to disperse protesters using tear gas and rubber bullets in St. John's on Sunday. Jamie J. Roche reports.
Police Commissioner Atlee Rodney says in June, freedom fighters applied on the Public Order Act to hold a march August 8.
A meeting was held with the organizers. According to the correspondent that came, the two main conveyors were Donette Simon and Chanel Williams. Deputy Commissioner Jeffers and Assistant Commissioner Coffey convened a meeting with them, and they were accompanied by their lawyer, Mr. Semester.
The police commissioner says following the meeting, the officers deliberated on the request and later decided the march was not feasible. He says the organizers received a denial letter August 6, but still distributed flyers for the event the following day. The demonstrators have argued they could legally hold the event since they changed it from a march to a protest after the denial.
A picket is walking at a particular point. Who are they picketing? VC Bed Boss, Burger King, the casino? Normally, if you have a picket, it's in defiance of maybe a minister or a ministry or an organization, and you would be going that area.
The commissioner says the organizers could have appealed the police's decision, but chose instead to defy the order.
So that cop-out, as I would say, to gather at the same starting point that they indicated on their correspondent, and then to call it a picket, was just trying to put a wool over our eyes.
The police say they contacted the organizers several times to caution them against proceeding with the event, but they insisted on hosting it. Commissioner Rodney says the riot squad went on the scene to disperse the crowd, gradually increasing its level of force.
We start with verbal persuasion. That was done. We start with displaying of written instruction in the form of a banner. That was done. And still, the organizers and the protesters decided they were not moving. As a result, the police had to go to a next level of force, which was to use tear gas to disperse them from the city of St. John's.
The commissioner says it's unfortunate the wind took the tear gas into nearby homes and affected children in the crowd.
That was not a decision of the police to go after children, but if you bring your child into an illegal match, there are certain consequences that will come with it.
He said some people later blocked the roads, threw stones at the police, and damaged buildings and other property in the area.
PDO building on Lower All Saints and Valley Roads is one of the buildings police say protesters damaged during Sunday's incident. Even now, you can see several rocks on the floor just outside the building that now has many cracked windows and doors.
The police say protesters also damaged the magistrate's court at Knocker Block and started fires around the city.
And when the fire tenders came to extinguish the fire, they started to attack the fire trucks by throwing stones. and we had to use the police officers to escort the fire truck.
He says no citizen should condone this behavior and calls on everyone to be responsible. I attempted to get a comment on the incident from an organizer who says she must first consult with her attorney.
The police say they've arrested around 10 people for throwing missiles, adding they'll likely detain several others for various offenses. From St. John's Magistrates Court, I am Jamie J. Roche reporting for ABS News.
In sports, a number of Jamaica's Olympians are back home after competing at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Marlon Samuels reports on the press conference held shortly after their arrival.
Some of Jamaica's sporting heroes landed back in the island on Monday, August 9. The athletes who represented Jamaica with pride, commitment, and resilience were greeted by a team from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. The athletes then made their way to the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston for a brief press conference. The athletes spoke of the highs and lows of the Tokyo Games.
It was a bittersweet moment for me. I false start, but then I'm void of making human errors. But I will not let that get me down, because being an Olympian is an ultimate test of my worth. So I'm really, really grateful. I just want to say that everything that goes wrong in life, there is a lesson. And there is World Championship coming, Olympics, Commonwealth Games. So I just want to stay focused. I just want to chase my dreams no matter what. So please continue to pray for me, because prayer is key. It's not all about winning, but prayer and putting God first.
I enjoyed my time in Japan. It was extremely difficult for me after the games were done because I didn't meet my goals for this Olympics and for this year on a whole. So it was really tough for me to accept that. I think Rhonda summed it up well though. It was really bittersweet, but we can't allow these feelings to overwhelm us and get the better of us, and also we can't allow them to make us lose sight of the fact that we have accomplished a lot. We are Olympians, and that is something that a lot of people can only dream of saying. And I just want to say I won't allow it to let me lose track of the goal, the overall goal, and as Rhonda said, put God first. Prayer is key. So for me, I think, just refocusing, the journey continues.
As the two persons before me said, it was bittersweet, especially for me, going out like that, it's like a love-hate relationship with the hurdles. They always say that's why the races are run. You can't count your eggs before they hatch. So you just have to always do your best and recover from your setbacks, which, it's hard. As I said, it felt like somebody stabbed me in my heart when I fell down. I was like, what in the world is this? But, I got up and I ran to the line, and I think that speaks a lot to my character. It's not about staying down. It's about how you get up and, rebound from that. As you have world champs next year, you have world champs again, then you have Olympics, then you have a next world champ. So it's just about setting out a 4-year plan for myself, actually. I can only speak for me, but I know what I want to achieve in the next 4 years, and I know I want to be on top, so I'll do whatever it takes with the help of corporate Jamaica and the ministry of sports.
When I was small, I was thinking about making the Olympic team, so I made that dream become a reality. So now that I made that dream become a reality, so I'm looking forward and take this experience that I gained from the Olympics and fix that need to be fixed and move forward.
One of the main goals for me was to make the Olympic team, because all season long I've been struggling, and making the Olympic team was a goal for me. But also helping the team to get a gold medal was in the mind and in the plan as well. we did not achieve that. And as Julian and Randa said, our setbacks, we're not going to watch any face, because come next time, we'll do better around.
I'd have to say thank you very much to Julian Fort and Hansa Parchment, because I was going through it. I was going through it, and I mean, to be training and feeling like the best you've ever felt in your life, and for a day before the event, something that not even ever happened to you before, just out the blue and kick you out the championship. I tell you, I mean, 1,000,001 things went through my mind. I wanted to go out there and just even try for run to see if, you know, probably my mind had tricked me with what me I feel, but I tried warming up. I did try warming up because I was there to compete on the day, but I tried doing some drills and I felt this shot, like somebody stabbed me in my leg, like just by doing some drills, not actually running. And you know, that there told me that I couldn't compete. I mean, I called my coach and I went and hid around a corner, and that's where the tears started. It finished up by my room, thanks to Julian and Parchment, because I was not in a good place. But regardless of all that, I mean, I ended up getting some real joy from the meet itself, from Parchment winning, from Parchment winning to the other male and females who did well in their own right. Even if they didn't win a medal, they got some season best, they got some personal best. Jail, another stick in the heart, but I mean, things happen, and what I can say is that this bump in the road has taught me a lot about myself that I didn't know. I got to speak to some expert doctors and physios, and they pointed out some things that, I mean, probably if I didn't get hurt, I wouldn't even know. And I think these are some of the main things that are going to help me to really be Taekwondo Tracy in the going years.
The team did well in spite of the challenges of the pandemic. You were able to come home with medals, and those who did not medal performed well, yes. And it augurs well for the future. And so we just wanted you to know, win, lose, or draw, we love you, you're ours, and we want you to feel very important and very special. A number of you are still in your early stages of development. And so the future belongs to you. And the world stage belongs to Jamaica.
Thank you, gentlemen and Lady Rhonda, for representing Jamaica with such class, such dignity. You know, I mean, you have brought great honor to yourselves and to our entire nation. And I want you all to always remember that you are worthy. Every single one of you is worthy. You have done yourselves and Jamaica proudly. You know, that Olympic spirit is not just about medaling, but it is about taking yourself and your country to that next level. You are Olympians, and by virtue of being Olympians, every single one of you is in fact a champion. So don't ever lose hope. The journey continues. What I would like to say to corporate Jamaica is that we love the show of gratitude to our athletes, and going forward, we welcome you to continue to partner with us to provide more sponsorships and more endorsements, because as you know, it is very expensive just to be an athlete.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
With that, we bring our newscast to an end. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place for more news right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.